DeShaun Watson has been confirmed out of the remainder of the season. Losing your starting quarterback often signals a challenging season for a team, but in Cleveland, the situation doesn't seem as dire. While Watson has shown a slight improvement compared to his performance towards the end of the 2022 season, his on-field play doesn't appear to justify the hefty $230 million fully guaranteed contract. The DeShaun Watson trade continues to deteriorate with each passing day. It does feel like a form of karma for the Browns, considering they gave up almost everything to acquire DeShaun Watson from the Texans back in 2022. Not only did they trade 3 first-round picks for him, but Cleveland also inked a fully guaranteed 5-year $230 million deal, the most substantial guaranteed sum in NFL history. All this happened while Watson was facing over 20 allegations of sexual assault. Cleveland committed to him without knowing the extent of his suspension. And to add to the situation, he has only played 12 games in the past 2 seasons due to the suspension and now his injury. While Watson was undoubtedly a standout player in Houston, trading for someone amidst such serious allegations doesn't seem like a wise decision. It's the sort of move that reflects poorly on organizations, and unfortunately, the Browns fall into that category. It's a shame because the Cleveland Browns were becoming fans' favorites after enduring years of being a struggling team. Baker Mayfield's arrival made the team endearing, and for a brief period, the Browns showed promise after a long spell of poor performance. However, Mayfield faced injuries and some tough seasons, leading to the Browns deciding to trade for DeShaun Watson, which has since brought significant challenges and controversy. Looking back, the trade for DeShaun Watson seemed outright crazy at the time. But in hindsight, considering Watson's performance in 2020, it might have appeared reasonable. In 2020, he excelled, leading the league with 4,823 yards, 33 touchdowns, and only 7 interceptions. Despite Watson's impressive play, the Texans had a dismal 4-12 record. However, after that season, Watson didn't play at all in 2021 due to various issues, which made the situation messy. Eventually, the Texans decided to move on and traded him to Cleveland. Reflecting on this decision, it's baffling to imagine the discussion that led the team to pursue Watson. It's astonishing that the Browns thought it was wise to trade for someone who sat out an entire season and was facing potential lengthy suspension amidst numerous sexual assault allegations. The fully guaranteed deal added to the perplexity of the decision. Initially suspended for 6 games, the NFL later appealed for a more extended suspension, a hefty fine, and required treatment for Watson's conduct. This appeal resulted in an 11-game suspension and a $5 million fine. By the time DeShaun Watson eventually started for Cleveland, a substantial amount of time had passed since he had played in a real game. He had missed the entirety of the 2021 season and 11 games in the 2022 season, resulting in noticeable rustiness in his performance at the end of the previous season. While his rustiness wasn't entirely unexpected given his prolonged absence from the field, it was far from a surprising outcome. However, recent stats from both last season and the current one show an uncanny similarity. At the end of the last season, Watson played in 6 games, throwing for 1,120 yards, accumulating 8 total touchdowns, and having 5 turnovers before his injury. In the current season, he played in 6 games, throwing for 1,115 yards, recording 8 total touchdowns, and experiencing 6 turnovers. The completion percentage has seen a slight improvement, moving from 58.2% to 61.4%. The notable difference lies in his win-loss record. Last season, he went 3-3, while this season, he stands at 5-1. Despite the Browns' recent victories, it seems they're winning in spite of Watson rather than due to his exceptional performance. The Cleveland Browns defense has been exceptional and might be carrying the team towards a playoff spot. However, it's crucial to acknowledge the competitiveness of the AFC North. Though Joe Burrow's injury might ease the competition a bit, teams like the Ravens remain formidable. Even though the Browns recently defeated them, the Steelers also stand at 6-4. The AFC North remains a challenging division, despite potential shifts due to injuries. The Ravens have a firm grip on the division right now. They seem like the team to beat, but the Browns are certainly in contention. However, the Ravens aren't flawless, so if they stumble, it could open an opportunity for Cleveland to climb up the division standings. The unfortunate reality, though, is the Browns' quarterback situation, which is currently in a dire state. To have any chance of making it to the playoffs, the Browns need to maintain their winning streak. However, that will likely require either Dorian Thompson-Robinson or PJ Walker at the helm, neither of whom are standout quarterbacks. Thompson-Robinson had his second start against the Steelers recently, and neither of his starts has been particularly impressive. Although the Browns secured a victory against the Steelers, Thompson-Robinson didn't have a breakout game. He completed 24 out of 43 passes for 165 yards and an interception. Not outstanding, but an improvement from his first start where he threw 3 interceptions, resulting in a significant defeat for the Browns. As a rookie, it's essential not to be too critical of Dorian Thompson-Robinson or DTR. He's in the developmental phase, transitioning to become a professional player. While he displayed an exciting performance during the preseason, the regular season presents a different challenge, one that DTR appears to be grappling with. The shift from third-string appearances to starting roles is substantial. The Cleveland organization is optimistic about DTR's potential, acknowledging his skill set. But there are uncertainties regarding his ability to fully integrate his talents at this level. If he can replicate his preseason success during regular games, he has the potential to be exceptional. However, veteran PJ Walker, despite a strong performance in the XFL in 2020, hasn't translated that success well into the NFL. His record as an NFL starter stands at 5-4, which seems reasonable, but his overall performance with just 6 touchdowns and 18 turnovers raises concerns about ball security and overall effectiveness. Consequently, DTR is getting the opportunity to start over Walker. If DTR fails to make significant progress and help the team secure wins, the Browns' quarterback situation looks bleak. While Watson wasn't performing exceptionally before his injury, his presence still offered the team a better chance of winning compared to the current options. It's an unenviable situation for the Browns at quarterback, especially considering their trade of Josh Dobbs for a late pick swap to the Cardinals in August. Dobbs, now a significant story in sports, is contributing significantly to the Vikings' playoff aspirations following Kirk Cousins' Achilles injuries. Josh Dobbs seems to have landed on his feet elsewhere, but the outcome hasn't been favorable for the Browns. On a positive note, there's some good news in Cleveland, specifically their defense, which stands out as a formidable unit. They also possess promising offensive weapons. However, the outlook for the remainder of the season appears bleak. The quarterback situation looks dire, and unlikely either of the current quarterbacks can elevate the team to compete effectively against the top teams in the conference. If they manage to sneak into the playoffs, don't anticipate them making a significant impact. The Ravens pose a substantial threat in the postseason, and it seems like they're in command of the division. It's somewhat ironic how the Browns, a team once favored not too long ago, have regressed to a state of relative insignificance. The excitement during Baker Mayfield's tenure, the playoff win, the arrival of Stefanski, all seems to have faded. Now, the Browns don't command the same attention and respect they once did. Adding to this, the decision to grant a $230 million fully guaranteed contract to a quarterback who has barely played 12 games in 2 seasons seems misguided. While injuries aren't within a player's control, Watson's situation raises questions. His limited game time this year, despite potentially being able to play, brings scrutiny to the situation. Granting such a massive guaranteed contract gives him little incentive to push for playing time. It's concerning that Watson could sit on the sidelines and earn $230 million without actively contributing on the field. While injuries are unfortunate, it's hard to feel much sympathy given the circumstances. This team might have brought this upon themselves after how they handled the Baker Mayfield situation. They took a gamble on Watson, but it appears to have been a major miss. Consequently, the Browns might face significant challenges going forward. The season seems like a lost cause, and the performance of their $230 million quarterback, suspended for inappropriate behavior, only adds to their troubles. Cleveland finds itself in disarray once more, reminiscent of the old days. The DeShaun Watson trade might be remembered as one of the NFL's worst, and unfortunately, it's associated with the Cleveland Browns. What do you think of this trade for DeShaun Watson? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and make sure you subscribe.